Hello everyone, welcome to Beat the Odds. I'm Edith Gomez Navarrete, or better known as Maestra Gomez in my classroom. In 2012, I won the Beat the Odds scholarship and got to attend the University of Oregon, where I earned my bachelor's and master's in education. Now, I'm wrapping up my 4th year as a dual language Spanish immersion teacher at El Camino del Rio Elementary in Eugene. Thank you, Beat the Odds, and enjoy your time, everyone.
The Beat the Odds Scholarship Program was started in 2007 to illustrate the transformational power of education. A gift from the Renaissance Foundation made that first round of scholarships possible.
Since then, Renaissance and STAND have teamed up to award scholarships to 96 amazing Oregon high school seniors, including the 3 you're about to meet today.
Together, STAND and Renaissance provide our scholars with tuition assistance, mentoring, and networking opportunities to help them achieve their goals.
Our partnership with STAND is so meaningful to us because of our shared belief that all students deserve the opportunity to succeed in their post-secondary pursuits.
Please join me in thanking the Renaissance Foundation for standing with us in support of the next generation of Oregon leaders.
Hello everyone, welcome to Beat the Odds. I'm Edith Gomez Navarrete, or better known as Maestra Gomez in my classroom. In 2012, I won the Beat the Odds scholarship and got to attend the University of Oregon, where I earned my bachelor's and master's in education. Now, I'm wrapping up my 4th year as a dual language Spanish immersion teacher at El Camino del Rio Elementary in Eugene. Thank you, Beat the Odds, and enjoy your time, everyone.
The Beat the Odds Scholarship Program started in 2007 to illustrate the transformational power of education. A gift from the Renaissance Foundation made that first round of scholarships possible.
Since then, Renaissance and Stand have teamed up to award scholarships to 96 amazing Oregon high school seniors, including the 3 you're about to meet today.
Together, Stand and Renaissance provide our scholars with tuition assistance, mentoring, and networking opportunities to help them achieve their goals.
Our partnership with Stand is so meaningful to us because of our shared belief that all students deserve the opportunity to succeed in their post-secondary pursuits.
Please join me in thanking the Renaissance Foundation for standing with us in support of the next generation of Oregon leaders.
Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited for the 2021 Stand for Children Beat the Odds Scholarship Awards and Fundraiser. I'm Joy Marshall. I am the State Organizing Director of Stand for Children, and I am joined by my great friend, Oregon Commissioner of Labor, Val Hoyle.
So happy to be here in person. We're both vaccinated, and I'm looking forward to when we can all get together in person.
Absolutely. And we are coming to you live. This actually is really live from my very fancy and glamorous living room. And Val and I are just really happy to be your host tonight. And while we are joining you tonight from my home, I'm acutely aware this is not my land. And I want to respectfully acknowledge that we are all here on the ancestral home of the Burns Paiute tribe, the Confederated Tribes of Coos, Lower Umpqua, and Siuslaw, the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, the Confederated Tribes of the Silettes, Confederated Tribes of Umatilla, Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Indians, the Coquille Indians, and the Klamath Tribes. So please join us for a moment of silence as we pay our respects to their elders, past and present.
Thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Val Hoyle, Oregon's Labor Commissioner, and we are here tonight to celebrate and be inspired by some incredible students, also to raise money for a really valuable organization. As you know, Stand for Children is a nonprofit education advocacy group that supports K through 12 school students in Oregon. Beat the Odds recognizes high school seniors who have overcome all kinds of challenges to be successful in high school and to be ready for college. Tonight, 3 students will be awarded a scholarship to attend the college of their choice.
Thanks. And all of this work, indeed, all of Stand for Children itself is only possible because of you all. Stand for Children is not just me or elected officials. It is the village. It's you out there. And I just want to thank you so much for being the volunteers, for being the advocates, and the donors who've made Stand for Children's work possible.
I have to say, I have been here from the beginning when I met Joy Marshall in 2002. We moved here on the basis of the reputation of the 4J school district. Yeah. And I got here, found out about Measure 5 and thought, what can I do? So I joined the parent teacher organization. And then people said, well, you should work on campaigns. We need to pass bond measures. We need to help elect people who will vote for schools and for students. So in 2002, I met Joy Marshall, and we worked on our first bond measure together, and we knocked on thousands and thousands of doors in that time.
We did, and we passed that measure. And I'll tell you, I remember that very well because people were saying, you have got to meet this new mom new person who's moved to town. She's all charged up and excited about school funding and working on it, and she's a leader that we need in our campaign. And that was you. Little did we know what kind of a leader that you really were.
And we really connected because Joy Marshall is a can-do person. And that's the one thing about Stand and why I consistently support Stand for Children, because they get things done. So we met, we helped organize door-to-door effort. We knocked on thousands of doors, as I said, to get support. And we passed that measure.
Yeah. And we've been great friends ever since.
Yeah. So now let's talk about tonight. 3 inspiring Lane County students, I am going to mention 2 of them are from Churchill, my kids' alma mater. They're going to receive $16,000 scholarships to go to the college of their choice.
That's right. And you can see the 3 students on your screen, and they're going to become part of our Beat the Odds family. And these 3 scholars each have their own unique stories that they're going to share with us. But one thing unites them all is that they've received caring support from their teachers and their school communities. And their stories illustrate the transformative power of education. You know, to date, we have awarded scholarships to over 100 Oregon students. That's a lot of scholarships. And we could not do that without our scholarship patron, the Renaissance Foundation. And I really want us all to give a round of applause and recognize the Renaissance Foundation. And I can hear you clapping out there. We can hear them because
we're moms.
We're moms, we know. So we really want to thank the Renaissance Foundation. Also, I want to thank all the volunteers on this year's scholarship selection committee. And I think we can see their names. These are people who spent many hours doing this work of the heart. They looked at the applications and met with the students and just really gave a lot of their time. I really want to shout out to Reverend Gary Powell, who has been the heart of the scholarship committee for some years. So thank you, Gary.
So thank you to the scholarship committee. We also have a lot of generous sponsors to thank tonight. That's how we got here, and that's how we're able to give these scholarships to these 3 amazing students. And we'll be giving these sponsors a shout out in a bit.
That's right. So I wanted to go a little bit more back about your story of how you've been an advocate for schools. I know 20 years ago, we were part of the PTOs, and you've done a lot more over the years since that time. You have been in the state legislature from 2009 to 2017. And for much of that time, she was the majority leader. And if you don't know what that means you are the person who gets the stuff done, and she did it. And we're a huge champion for public schools in all of that time. And then in 2018, you ran for statewide office, the Oregon Commissioner of Labor and Industries. And here you are.
Yep. And throughout that time, we've gotten to work on a lot together. We helped pass a couple of bond measures for the Bethel School District so that they could replace some of their old and aging buildings. I know that, in that night in 2012, we found out that we won that bond measure by 73%, the highest in the state. And when we built that building, I remember one of the buildings, we had first graders come and look at the schools. And we were able to say, we did this for you, because when we knocked on those doors, and we had firefighters knocking on doors, we had, teachers, construction workers, mothers, everyone got together to knock on doors. And we said to the kids, we did this for you. And I know there was this one boy who was 6 years old who came up and said, this is my school, you did this for me. And we were able to say yes, because Bethel is not a wealthy community, but it is rich, and we support kids. But again, it took the work of a lot of people.
Yeah, that was really an exciting campaign. And I think there's a picture, of Val and I right, on election night, just finding out that we won by 73%. So that was a real great win for that community. And then a few years later, we worked on a library campaign. And Val was there again. And, even though you were at the statewide office, you've always come back down, and you've always been involved in this community and helping this community. And there's a picture of you with the library campaign.
Yeah. And that branch library was so important for Bethel, because that library is a place for kids who may not have anywhere to go and do their homework, or they might not have internet at home. So it was critical. And again, we got the community to step up and support that library and the Sheldon Branch Library. And we did it with Stand and Joy leading the way.
Yep. And there's Jennifer Geller. Hi, Jennifer, in that picture. And then a couple years later, actually 1 year later in 2016, Stand for Children wrote a statewide ballot measure, Measure 98, and Val helped support that all the way, and people all around the state, and a lot of you listening helped support that. And that brought targeted funds to our high schools, because we had one of the worst high school graduation rates in the country. And a big part of that was expanding career and technical education. And since that measure passed, it really works. The graduation rate here in Eugene has gone up by 8%.
So through my agency oversees the apprenticeship programs for the state. And what we saw is that with budget cuts through the years, we had cut career technical education as an option for so many kids. And for students leaving school and going to apprenticeship, previously, 20 years ago, the average age for an apprentice was 19 years old. It is now 27 years old. Wow. Because we took career technical education out of the schools. So the bottom line is we've been able to work to dedicate these funds for career technical education, because the bottom line is understand that apprenticeship is the other 4-year degree with no college debt. So we have kids that have no college debt that are making 6 figures with a good career with benefits, and we can do that through apprenticeship programs. And again, we're connecting career technical education, pre-apprenticeship programs, and then apprenticeship programs in this state.
That's awesome. And there's so much momentum going forward on those issues. And with the pandemic, suddenly everything got flipped on its head, right? As we all know. And it's really hard. How do we keep that momentum going? How do we keep kids succeeding and on the path to success. And our local work, I think, was really important at that time, is because we had so many parents and students involved. We got to listen to their concerns and bring their voices back to the district to tell them what was working and not working with distance learning. And I think that was really a critical input. And also then the district, they had so much information, they had to get back to parents, and we helped them do that. So in the pandemic, I think we played a really important role. And also this year, more than ever, we really focused on racial equity and racial justice. And that's something we're going to continue to do. And I'm really proud of that too.
Yeah, and the latest campaign we just finished in the 4J school district, we elected Judy Newman to the Eugene 4J school board. She's one of the state's leading expert and advocates for children with disabilities.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And as someone with a learning disability, I can tell you that having someone like Judy, who is a voice at the table for students who learn different, is absolutely critical. Also, Stan did an amazing job in the Salem-Keizer School District.
It's really exciting. And I'm going to give you the breaking news right now because we just found out. So Salem-Keizer is the second largest school district in the state, is a high poverty district, and almost half of their students are Latinx, but they have never had representation on that school board. They have never had a Latinx school board member, and their voices really have not been heard. And the equity programs have not been able to be pushed forward. And so Stand for Children decided to help change that and elect 4 school board members this May. We helped build a community coalition. It was a wonderful group of people. There were teachers, there was labor, there was parents. We worked closely with POCUN, the Farm Workers Union, and we reached out again to many, many thousands of voters. On election night 2 weeks ago, right, May 18th, we outright won 2 of those 4 seats. The other 2 were so close. They were too close to call. And we didn't know. They had to recount the challenge ballots, and the county elections offices had to go over each one. And we just found out that we won all 4 of those races. So that is really exciting news. That is going to be life-changing for the Salem-Keizer students. They're going to have champions for equity and for making sure that the opportunity gaps are closed. So we're really excited about that.
So much of this just shows what STAND is all about, centering the voice of the community, making sure parents and students are heard every step of the way in everything relating to education. And I'm so grateful for Stand for Children, for inspiring people, for inspiring me, and for showing up for our schools and for our families. So I know you are all working hard to address systemic racism and challenges that are baked into our system. And this year's graduates, more than ever, need that support.
Absolutely. Thanks. And speaking of this year's graduates, now we get to move to the best part of the program. And people who've been there before know hearing our students' stories and meeting the students is amazing. And so we're really excited to introduce you to the students who got the scholarships this year. Our first Beat the Odds scholar is a young man from Churchill, and he is sharing his story with us. It is really amazing. So let's meet Luis.
I'm really interested in gears, like moving parts, stuff like that. So I started taking engineering classes in my freshman year. I'm going to be the first one in my family to go to college, facing that with autism. I think the time I started to know was when I was 4. I'd always stutter in the middle of my sentences, and I'd always take big pauses when I was talking about something, and I couldn't really socially interact with others. And I'd ask my mom questions like, how do I look people in the eyes directly? Or why are they telling me that I'm not paying attention? She told me to look at people's noses to make it less awkward. And that is one of the biggest tips that I have received, and it's helped me so much. Kindergarten through 3rd grade, I was in a special classroom with people who had similar disabilities like me. In 3rd grade, I had an assistant right by me that was helping me, but the class was a more faster pace. Everyone was talking sometimes, and it'd be really hard to concentrate on the whiteboard in front of me. A test that was supposed to take 5 minutes, I'd take 10 or 15 minutes to do it. At the end of middle school, I started receiving medications. I think that helps, but also just my desire to go one more step through life, get a career or a job. And I thought that college, you need that education to like make a good salary, you know.
Luis came into the classroom with excited, happy, and enthusiastic, but a unique set of challenges that most students don't have to face, and he had to overcome specific challenges as it relates to how he is able to learn. And he was able to successfully do that.
Freshman year was the first year that I didn't have an IEP class. I got like B's and A's. I got 1 C, but I was really proud of myself because I didn't think I could do it alone.
The excitement and the passion he has about mechanics and engineering, just the raw passion and enthusiasm Luis has for what he wants to do is just, it's awesome.
Right now I live with my mom and my brother and my dad. I help them clean the house every day, and I also take care of my little brother. I have to feed him lunch and breakfast. I help him clean his room, organize his clothes. Since I have to do school, do my homework, and then take care of him at the same time, I always start the homework early. That's how I avoid that issue of like staying up later. I work with my parents. It's a family business, and it's called Ranchero Yard Maintenance, operating a lawnmower and mowing all the lawns. Then after I went to like raking, pulling out weeds, operating the wheelbarrow, and like putting down dirt when we were doing that type of stuff.
Luis is incredibly determined and incredibly hardworking because he does spend a lot of energy succeeding in school. Luis needs that personal time and personal space to recharge.
I do Taekwondo 4 days a week. Taekwondo has taught me leadership. It has helped me with self-defense, but it's also helped my mental side and think more wide open.
In 10 years, he's going to be working as an engineer in some firm, building the next generation of electric cars or hydrogen-powered cars. I have no doubts about his success in the future.
People with disabilities have the same potential that a person that without disabilities has. They can do the same things if they have enough desire for it. Just believe in yourself.
That was awesome. Thank you, Luis. Thanks for sharing your story and your wisdom with us. I really, really appreciate your quote. People with disabilities have the same potential that a person without disabilities have. And that is so wise. Thanks, Luis.
So let's see what we can do to support that work. Many of the youth that attended the Beat the Odds dinner and attended last year on Zoom, many of us attended last year on Zoom. And I'm here, and I believe you're here because we want this work to keep going. So I'll share how things are working tonight. We're asking all of you, our village, and everyone watching to make a donation, whatever you can. And there's 2 ways to give. You can text BTO, like Beat the Odds, to 44321, where you will be directed to a site where you can pay you can donate with a credit card. Or you can click on the donate button below if you're watching this on your computer. So every time you make a donation, the thermometer goes up and it helps us get closer to our goal.
That's right. And we have a goal tonight of raising at least $30,000 for this really important work. And we're getting there thanks to the amazing sponsors who have stepped up for us. And I want to thank again our scholarship sponsor, the Renaissance Foundation, who supports our Lane County students and all of our Beat the Odds scholars around the state. I also want to thank our silver sponsors, and those are local businesses who always step up for our schools every time. And that's Palo Alto Software and Chambers Construction. Thank you so much. And also thanks to our other sponsors, just great local businesses and organizations really committed to our community, the University of Oregon, Concentric Sky, Pivot Architecture, Eugene Area Chamber of Commerce. Also, thanks to King Estate Winery. I hope you are enjoying their wine right now. The Eugene School District, Eugene Education Foundation, and the First Congregational United Church of Christ. We're just really so grateful to all of you.
So let's see who's joining these sponsors in support of Stan's incredible work. Joy?
All right. So here are some people to thank. I just want to thank every one of you, and I'm going to read your name. Priscilla Gold, Lana Lindstrom, Jane Bartos, Brenda Kaminui, a wonderful reading teacher, Rod and Betty Holst, Lori and Dan Souter, Dwayne Rice, Val and Dan Close, other educators, Randy Bernstein. Randy was the principal when my daughter went to high school. Hi, Randy. Kevin Bowling, another wonderful former 4J principal. Jim Choi from the school board. Thank you all so much for donating. And I'm also going to thank, we have some more people who are coming in now. I want to thank Josh Ellers for Concentric Sky, Judy Newman, Christy, and Dan Sheeran. Thank you so much for supporting us again. Colin Pfeiffer, Sarah Case, who supported us from the beginning, Debbie Farr from the Bethel School Board, Steve Marshall, I know him, Patricia Williams, Blair Irvine, thank you all so much. Pamela Capples, Craig Smith, thank you, Craig, former 4J school board member for many years. Sarah Sampson, she was on our scholarship committee, thank you, Sarah. Julie Hubbard McNall, thank you, Julie. Brittany Quick Warner, she's the head of our Eugene Area Chamber of Commerce, thank you, Brittany. So thanks, everyone. Please, we appreciate your donations, and we're going to, also, I want to thank a number of other people. And we used to have tables, right? We used to have a dinner and we'd have food and it was in person. But a lot of people agreed to step up and say, I will still sponsor a table, some theoretical table in the air. And I just want to thank the people who stepped up and did that. I want to thank Doug and Linda Carnine. I also want to thank Doug and Linda for bringing the Spreading Kindness campaign here. Really appreciate that. Thanks to Betsy Boyd, Val Close, Christy Gonen, Phyllis Haddocks, Morley Hegstrom, Megan Coons, Kate McCarthy, Judy Newman, Reverend Gary and Jane Powell, Cindy Rowe, Sarah Sampson, Christy Sheeran, Mary Walston, Tammy Young, Betty and Rod Holst. Thanks to all of you for sponsoring tables. We're really honored to have your support. And please keep donating. Your support is really critical to this work. And now we're going to meet our other two scholars. This is the fun part. And when they talk about their experiences at school, it reminds me why this work is so important. And we're working really hard to make sure that every Lane County student feels supported and has access to the same opportunities. So first, we're going to meet another student from Churchill, and then we're going to meet a wonderful student from North Eugene High. So here they're going to tell their stories.
I have a lot of fun memories with my dad. He looked like a very big, buff, kind of scary man, but he had a really kind heart. My mom also is a very, very kind and selfless person. Neither one of my parents ever graduated from college, so I really watched them struggle to pay the bills. My parents separated when I was about 4, I believe. He moved back to Indiana because that is where his family was. I didn't get to see him often after that. I found out that my dad passed away when I was 6 years old. His passing was very unexpected, and I remember thinking that it wasn't real. I didn't really understand everything that meant. It was a lot to take in. It was definitely hard on my mom and my brother as well. We definitely kind of fell apart. There was more conflict now because we were all dealing with his loss in different ways, and none of us really knew how to handle it. My mom also had severe depression. It became harder for her to keep jobs, and it became harder for her to focus on what was important, providing for my brother and I and doing those things. Eventually, she turned to alcohol as a way to cope. So in school, I definitely distanced myself. I began struggling a lot in my sophomore year, and I kind of fell into a dark place. I hit a wall, and that really was difficult to get through.
My first impressions of Anya when she walked into the class was she was very academically incredibly gifted. She was going through so much at home, and yet she was able to still succeed, still show up, preparing for her future. It really showed just how strong of a person Anya is.
Mr. Kelly pushed me to take harder classes and to apply myself. I took 2 AP classes in my junior year, and I remembered my goals, and I pushed myself
She did everything she needed to prepare herself. She has earned a ridiculous amount of college credit. I think that what she's been through has prepared her to sort of take punches in life and roll with the punches.
One of the people that was very important to me was my grandma. She helped to step in and emotionally support my mom and I. Reaching out to her helped me realize that I didn't have to handle all the things that I was handling alone, and I should focus on my future and focus on reaching the goals that I had set for myself. I am currently leaning towards the University of Oregon. Psychology might be something that I'm interested in, learning more about how people work. It's really important to just always be kind to people. When I was at my lowest points, seeing people in the hallways even smile at me made my days brighter. And so I always try and be that person that can maybe add a little bit of light to someone's day or someone's life. And that is what I hope to continue to do in my future.
In elementary school, I loved school. Like, it was so much fun. I had breakfast and then I would read books. I was friends with the teachers. They understood what I was going through. I was just like, oh my god, I love school. This is my home. Second through 7th grade, I went to a new school every year. I never had stability. I didn't know when I was going to eat next. I didn't know who I was going to see tomorrow. My mom has severe bipolar disorder, and when she's happy, she's ecstatically happy, and she's very social. But when she's depressed, she's extremely depressed. She went to U of O while she had me. I would go to classes with her, and we hung out with college people at college parties. I was the only child, and so everyone loved me. I had such a fun life. But then slowly I'd wake up by myself, and I would find bottles of beer everywhere, and needles would start to show up. I would try waking up my mom, but she'd be strung out, so I couldn't wake her up. I would not go to school a lot, or I would be late. Then next thing I know, I'm packing all my stuff and driving away with my grandma. When I first moved, I definitely was sad. I just was this preteen that had a rough life and didn't have any friends. I was just alone. So I joined all the clubs that I could, so I didn't have to go home. I'd stay at school till 8 p.m.
I met Lily when she was in 8th grade, and one of the things that she recognized is that the one place she had absolute control was at school, right? That's what she could own, that's where her stability was.
I got all straight A's and always volunteered for every single school event in middle school, every single event in high school, I'm on the list. And then in high school, I moved in with my mom because she had just gotten clean. High school is the longest time I've ever stayed in one school ever, and my teachers, of course, are my best friends.
Lily really thrives on those relationships. She has a couple of teachers that she just has to check in with, so as soon as she comes in the building, she checks in with me, she checks in with her English teacher.
Through Avid, I discovered that I wanted to go in the medical field, and I have an extreme interest for surgery.
And I was like, well, maybe you should start volunteering at the hospital. And then she comes back and she's like, oh, they've actually offered me a position where I'm working in day surgery and interacting with all of the patients. And oh, by the way, I got invited to do a job shadow with one of the surgeons. And I'm like, I thought you were just going to be delivering balloons.
I got accepted into Oregon State, and I'm really excited. And when I found out that I won the BT Odds, I was just so excited about it. I went downstairs and celebrated with my mom, and she was super happy about it. Jumped around and stuff. I told my teacher immediately too, and I was super excited because I haven't really won a big scholarship before. Getting those acceptances and these scholarships have really shown me that all of this hard work and making sure I'm doing my homework every night, it's all finally paying off. Oh my gosh, I made it.
Wow, those students are incredible. And this is who we're supporting today, the work to support these students. And we're seeing some incredible support coming in. So who do we have, Joy?
So I'm really moved when I see all these community members that I know and that we know and all your donations. So thank you. I want to really just shout out. I want to thank Annie Hers, my old friend, Parasa Chan Rami, a great state education leader, Catherine Rock, thank you so much. Nancy Golden, our former head of public schools and Springfield Soup, thank you, Nancy Golden. Jeff Parker, thank you. Reverend Gary Powell, again, for a very generous donation. Thank you, Gary. Larry and Megan Banks, Larry from Pivot Architecture, Jeff Parker, Brooke Wagner, thank you, Brooke, our education leader in 4J. Jennifer Kim, Jenny Ullum, thank you, Jenny Ullum. Ethan Isaac Saman, thank you. Stephen Parak, wow, thank you, Stephen. Dana Fleming, Dana, the head of the Eugene Education Foundation, thank you, Dana. Cindy Rowe, thank you so much, Cindy. Amy Edwards, Eileen Nittler, former Stanford Children Chair and school board member, thank you, Eileen Nittler. Monica Pearson, Sabrina Parsons of Palo Alto Software, thank you, Sabrina. Sid Vanderkar, our superintendent. Thank you, Sid, so much. Trinity Welch-Radabout. Trinity is the principal of North Eugene High School. She's an amazing leader, and she supports one of the students, Lily, that we just saw. Thank you so much. Jennifer Ray, also of Concentric Sky. Thanks, Jennifer. Janet Gilman. Thank you, Janet. Deborah Krager. Jennifer Geller of the famed library campaign. Beth Stormshack. Thank you, Beth. Christy Gonan, also an educator in 4J. Thank you, Christy. Kari Parsons. Betsy Boyd. Thank you, Betsy. Esther Streisfeld. Erica McFarland. Ann Burgess, one of the most master teachers. Now she teaches new teachers in training at the U of O. Thank you, Ann. Bob Euler. Thank you, Bob. He's a really nice guy. Lily Leiterman. Robin Detmer. Thank you, Robin. Thank you for your text just now as well. Doug Carnine, again, thank you, Doug, and Linda Carnine. Stacy Ziegler, Amy Phillips. Anonymous just gave a donation.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Anonymous, you're right.
And everyone else, too.
That's right. Beth Casper. Karis McGahee, a longtime educator and a local, our assistant superintendent. Thank you, Karis McGahee. Kelly Kennedy from Stanford Children. Thank you, Kelly. Linda Lynch. Longtime friend, leader of League of Women Voters. Thank you, Linda Lynch. Ann Sampson. Thanks, everybody. This is so great. This is really helping make our work possible here. And we're going to take a little break and I want to thank the students. I want to thank Luis, Anya, and Lily for sharing your stories. And I think that you are all out there now. So are some of your teachers. Claire Wiles, I think, is there. Hello to everybody in the community who's supporting these great students. And I wish I could thank each of you in person. Who doesn't miss being in person, right?
Soon we'll be able to thank you in person. And just in case you forgot and you're like, I really want to donate, but I don't remember how, you can text BTO. So that's Beat the Odds. Beat the Odds, BTO, to 44321. So text 44321. BTO. Or you can just click the donate button at the bottom of this video if you're on your computer.
Thanks. Thanks so much. And thanks to all of you. This work really, really matters to our students, and we really appreciate your support. I'm very grateful. I think it's time to do a toast.
I think we should do a toast. I'm a big fan of toasts.
I know, me too. Now, we're just doing water right now.
Yeah.
But first, I want to toast all of you who are supporting the Beat the Odds students. Mm-hmm. Cheers.
Sláinte.
That's not in the script, but neither is a lot of this. All right. Who else shall we toast?
Okay, let's toast to these amazing students, parents, teachers, counselors, avid teachers, and those who support them. Shout out to the Renaissance Foundation and all of you here too.
Awesome. Toast to all of you. And while we're toasting, I have another very special person I want to recognize that we know and many of you know, and that is Toya Fick, and she is the director of Stand for Children. She is a courageous leader and has really become a courageous statewide leader for educational opportunity and for racial justice. And you may have seen in the paper recently, but she was just appointed to the University of Oregon Board of Trustees. So she is a duck. And on top of that, and I'm not just saying this, a lot of people, when they talk about their boss, they will say these wonderful things, but this is not that. This is real. She is my hero, and she is one of the kindest people you may ever meet. And I am honored to be in this cause with her. And so please welcome Toya Fick, the Executive Director of Oregon Stand for Children.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Toya Fick, the Oregon Executive Director of Stand for Children, and I'm proud to be talking to you just a few weeks after the school board elections, where Stand supported 52 education champions in their school board campaigns. We endorsed in more races than ever before, and we could not have done that without you. So, thank you to the volunteers who helped us make that impact. Because of your support, we've gotten so much done for students across the state. Over the last 6 years, we have crafted and passed legislation to support students learning English. We've secured funding for Measure 98 and required districts to use their dollars to ensure all students have access to college credit classes. And we've partnered with many organizations that serve kids of color, alongside all the education associations, to pass and protect the Student Success Act. Now, you may have noticed a theme in the list above. That's because we've been working very diligently to change the odds for kids throughout the state. While doing so, we've been honest about the barriers our kids face in schools and addressing those barriers in everything we do. And while we've made great progress in this area, there's still a lot of work ahead of us. We are looking at data to help us determine the focus of our work, because we believe that we must do all that we can to support students in more equitable ways. Here's why. When we lift our most vulnerable students, all students benefit. And so we must do two things: protect the progress made and amend the laws that have been silent on equity. For STAND, that means protecting Measure 98 and the Student Success Act and making sure both are fully funded. Many of you have been instrumental in that advocacy, and thank you for helping us get here. It also means looking at laws that have been on the books for generations. We are proud to say that we're working with the Education Association to amend a statute that governs the layoff process. House Bill 2001 will require school districts to maintain the proportion of teachers with cultural and linguistic expertise before and after layoffs, in addition to looking at seniority. Now, we sincerely hope that this bill is never used, as layoffs are horribly disruptive to a child's education. We also hope to update the funding formula to reflect the needs of the students we now see in terms of racial disparities and kids living in poverty. This will enable districts to work closely with communities to find ways to close those achievement gaps. Accomplishing all this is a huge effort, and we're going to need your help to get all these pieces across the finish line. So as we enter the last month of the legislative session, I have one favor to ask. Click the link that pops up right now in your chat. Read both op-eds we've written on these issues and commit to sending them to your legislators. This very simple action will help us educate our legislators as we continue to spread awareness about this really important work. I'll close my remarks with a quote from the Quality Education Commission's most recent report. The Commission says, "Our current system is delivering the outcomes it was designed to deliver. So we need to change the system to one that delivers outcomes more consistent with our values. With your help, we can design a system that our children deserve." Thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you for standing with us.
Wow. Thank you so much, Toya. Now that is vision. You know, in all my 35 years of community organizing, yes, I started when I was very young, we know a huge part of momentum, of moving things forward, is to create hope for people and a clear vision. And real hope, not just rhetoric or theory, but substance. And that's what we do at Stand for Children, is we make real change to improve the lives for children.
Well, everyone, let's support that vision. You're donating on behalf of students across Oregon who deserve a more equitable education, who deserve for the odds to be a whole lot easier.
Absolutely. And some more people have been donating, and I'm just really, really grateful and really moved at the community support. And I just want to say your names out loud. So Dr. Louise Brunau, a reading expert that we have had many long conversations with. Thank you, Louise. Melanie Williams. Thank you, Melanie. Ginny Landgren, who was one of the early founders of Stand for Children here in Lane County. Hi, Ginny. Linda Rowe. Thank you, Linda. Ann Sharman. And Anonymous gave again.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Twice.
And everyone else.
Megan Coons and Peter Knight Sheen. Josh and Rachel Burstein. Josh is a longtime chair of the budget committee for 4J, and Rachel's a Stand for Children leader. Thank you. And here's someone I really want to shout out. This person is a 4th grade teacher, a bilingual teacher at El Camino del Rio, River Road. And in 2012, she won a Beat the Odds scholarship. And that is my dear friend, Edith Gomez.
Oh, love Edith.
Anamika Gali, thank you. Diane Schechter, hello, thank you, Diane. Ann DeRay, my dear friend, thank you, Ann. Tana Bailey, another reading expert in our district. Thank you, Tana. Sean Heimer, thank you. June Cheda, you know June?
June. Yeah.
Hi, June. Sharon O'Brien, Margaret Hadaway, Amanda Terhes, Tamara Torrance. She also is a wonderful educator, math teacher in 4J, and was the chair of Stand for Children. Hi, Tamara. Anonymous again. Anonymous is not the top donor, but is a very generous donor. Elizabeth Baressa, thank you. Margaret McCarty, thank you. And an Anonymous for $500. Actually, that puts Anonymous really up in my esteem.
Yeah. Please, you know, y'all don't want to let Anonymous get ahead of you, so please donate.
And if you haven't had a chance to make a donation yet, please continue to do so. Also, you can make a pledge in the chat if you want to pay in a different way or pay later. You can put your pledge in the chat and we will follow up with you. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. So we really need to reach our goal tonight. And later this week, each of you will receive an email.
Right. And with that email, what we want you to do is you can rewatch this, or you can send what we've recorded here to your friends, right, with a link to donate to Stand for Children so that we can support more students in beating the odds. So again, if you want to know how to donate, there are multiple ways. You can click the donate button at the bottom here if you're on your computer. You can text BTO, so beat the odds, to 44321, or you can go into the chat and let us know that you should accommodate that, because we're flexible.
Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you who are supporting this work and really caring about, from your heart, about helping all children to be able to beat the odds. And a lot of you have some gift wine, but we forgot to give our gift bag to Val Hoyle, and I think we should do that right now. So here we go. This is not the script. This is how we do it. So remember to always help us beat the odds. Thank you to Val Hoyle.
Beat the odds. Please donate, and thank you for joining us here tonight.
Thank you. Have a great night. Thanks for standing with us.